in snooker, the size of the balls, and sometimes when you're playing combos, it's hard to get into your mind what you need to do. Now, over on table 1, Van Boening and Kyle Amoroto are lagging, so it's time for Kyle and myself to take our leave and hand over to the deadly duo, McMullen and Jones.
Yeah, thanks to Phil and Carl for that.
Yeah, Michael, a thunderous break off there in the opener, and something we're used to seeing from SVB.
Yeah, I've said it so many times. That wonderful breaking was the absolute bedrock of his World Championship triumph last year. So it's only the second match Shane Van Boening has played in the tournament. A walkover in his first match. Van Boening getting the walkover to start, and then was pushed hard by Lee Kun Fang in his second match. He won it 9-6.
Yeah, ended up a little short there on something that was fairly routine. So now he's got to make a decision. I don't know if the 6 passes the 9. Doesn't mind the cut. There's really hardly any player on the planet that doesn't mind a tough shot any more than SVB, but he's got to command some speed to get position on the 6 and then back to the 7. Looks like the speed's real good if the 6 does play. Well, maybe overran it just a touch, so a very working opening rack here for SVB. Lots of interesting scores on some of the outer tables, and of course my compadre here in the booth will give you all the updates as he can. Really nice stroke there, opened the pocket up with a real fluid motion. Shane loves it when they lay tough. He just hopes they lay tough every rack.
Yeah, this is, again, winner's qualification round, so you win this, you're back tomorrow for the final 64.
So good at that soft one, where most want to go with it a little more because it agrees with pocketing the ball a little easier, applying that speed. And fell a little straight here, so he's going to have to draw back and take a little cut on the 9. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Oh, he went and zipped it, so there was a little negative angle going away from the 9, and now has a little distance. We'll see how he wants to play it. Should be kind of a medium roll stroke, nothing too soft, but
well, we had 1 or 2 technical difficulties going on there at the start, but that was a break and run, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Jeremy? Yeah, we didn't quite see the very beginning at this end. So Shane Van Boening then leads Kyle Amoroto 1-0. Winner's qualification, as I was saying. Let's recap on the results we've had already. Win An Tan with a very significant win over David O'Cady, 9-7. So the European Open winner will now have to come through one match on the loser side to make single elimination. Michael Feliciano of the Philippines, who's been steadily improving and enhancing his reputation in recent months, is through with a 9-6 win over Trine Van Bin. Jason Shaw, we saw an impressive win over Jeff DeLuna, going nicely to win 9-3 on the main table just a few minutes ago. Mickey Kraus has won, beating Sanyan Pelovanovic in a clash of highly rated young European players, 9-4. Skylar Woodward, a 9-3 winner over Oliver Villafuerte. Copigny beat snooker star Gary Wilson, 9-4. So they are the completed matches. In terms of those that are going on at the moment, Billy Thorpe had a huge lead over Anton Raga. He's only one ahead now at 8-7. Johan Chua 5-3 up on Naoki Oi. Alexa Peichel, she's a 4-3 lead over Coco Cheng. Andre Ionescu on the hill against former world champion Torsten Homan at 8-7. James Aranas closing in on victory, 7-5 in favour of the World Cup winner against No Quang Trung. And Fedor Gorst now of the United States on the hill at 8-3 against Masato Yoshioka. So you're up to date. Let's crack on with rack 2.
Excuse me, y'all, and talk about cracking on. Shane got to sleep last night, unloading even more so on the second break shot here. And it's a unique one that only a few in the room really possess, being able to play the cut break with so much speed, attacking the rack, and really not losing the cue ball. I try to imagine myself a lot of times. Wasn't sure about that one when he first struck it. He's going to get a little straighter on the pink because he hit the 3 a little thick to the pocket. Good thing is he can draw back for some short side on the purple. Speed's got to be pretty good, though, because not a lot of pockets available short side. You'll notice the brown 7 up the table covering up a hole. It's got to be probably either accept a shot from there or try to draw back for that side pocket. Yeah, but everything heating up. Huge crowd to see Win Antoine take down that awesome player. And now Mosconi Cup. I like this. I like this. He's feeling it. He's feeling pretty good today, Michael. We'll see how it unfolds, but not backing down one bit. Now this is odd. Does he play underneath the 6? Very hard to direct the cue ball between the 8 and 9. Now he could come into the 6 off the 3rd rail. It's not the worst thing in the world. Just got to bump the ball. And now I see maybe this 5 ball's not cuttable. Maybe it's more of a bank shot.
Well, this is a dream start for Van Boening. Now, we always talk about how winners' qualification is the first of 2 goes that you have to make the final 64 in this format. But we also always make it clear it's very much preferable to just get straight through on the winner's side. And Van Boening's story at the US Open really exemplifies that. He was making another attempt to move ahead of Earl Strickland by winning a record 6th US Open. But he was beaten at this stage in Atlantic City by Marco Teucher. Had to go to the loser's side. So even though he got through on that second chance, he was then liable to face anyone who'd come through on the winner's side. And the draw was made for the last 64. Came up against Chang Yung Lin. No great surprise, given Chang's reputation, that he was beaten. And therefore, out of the US Open as early as the last 64 for the 2nd year in a row. So all of that really underlining it's so much better to get straight through from winners' qualification than having to go through another match later today and everything that brings with it.
Well, yeah, and Shane, not long ago, but he remembers like no one else, and he probably had a little talk with himself prior to this match, and drew a little unlucky. He didn't have to troll Chang Jung Lin, but whenever you do go from the one-loss side, you know the percentages are not on your favor, or in your favor. Excuse me.
Well, the percentage for Van Boening so far in this match is 100. Perfect start. He's raced through the first couple of racks. Kyle Amoroto not getting into it yet. He trails 2-0.
Yeah, it was just a few years ago that Kyle's name came out to the pool world, and of course you hear about stories, but it seems like when the Philippines let a name get out, it's pretty solid recommendation that he can play, and he made a little noise there for a bit. Seems like quieted down a little bit, but back now on the scene and waiting for a shot.
James Aranas on the hill now at 8-5 against No Quang Trung, and it's gone hill in the match between Anton Raga and Billy Thorpe. I know you were watching that one, JJ. Were you saying it was 8-1 to Thorpe at one stage?
8-1, yeah. Really didn't get put my eyes on it much, just the score line, really. But obviously, I mean, Billy's played a solid match. Cue ball going towards that side, and I think it did get a little kiss, but really didn't disturb the path. And Shane knows that's a gamble, but probably still feeling good about the break, even though the cue ball got lost there. So going to just buy his time for another opportunity, and that's the issue with these great players as we move on in the tournament.
Yeah, definitely he'll be happy with it. That doesn't get nudged in, and he's got this position ball in hand, and the way he started, more likely than not, it would have been 3-0. But the scratch means we get our first look at Kyle Amoroto, 21 years of age, from the Philippines. Taytay Rizal, may not be pronouncing that entirely correctly, but that's where he's from. He's been playing since he was 10 and is now playing full time.
Yeah, and of course his name, like I said, been around for a couple years, but there's so many more, it seems like, that I've seen this week, not only here at the Hanoi, but also at the Perry Open. Philippines, just like the sport itself, getting younger and younger with the great players. All right, just wants to pay attention, because getting on the 7, a little important, doesn't want anything steep to where he has to really maneuver the cue ball. So position on the 6, pretty important. Now, decision here, does he come 2 rails and floating into position there? He could come 1 rail if he feels good about the speed. And, you know, half an inch can make a big difference on which route you take and how you hit it to the pocket, really. Like this right here should be pretty good. He's going to get close to it as well. Yeah, I just got confirmation that Billy did lose that lead. And Anton Raga has made an incredible comeback to win that match and get into the final 64. Billy's going to have to just do what he did there, besides, of course, not getting quite across the line, and remain focused heading into later today on his loser's qualification.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear later on, and I'm sure you'll speak to Billy and find out what exactly happened. Did he miss chances to get it done, or did Raga just blow him away? Either way, 8 racks in a row for the European Open runner-up. He wins 9-8 and will be in the draw later for the final 64. High quality stuff to start here on both sides. Kyle Amoroto, his first visit to the table. He's run out the rack from there. Get back to 2-1 behind. Well, it's a semi-rematch of last year's World Cup of Pool final between Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, who was on the winning side for Spain, and Tony An Han, who was on the beaten side for Singapore. And it's a close one. Sanchez Ruiz leading there 6-4 at the moment. Naoki Oi is just levelled at 5-all with this year's World Cup winner Johan Chua. Alexa Pechelge, US Open semi-finalist last month, leads Po Po Cheng 4-3. And there's another hill finish going on table 24 between Andrei Ionescu of Romania and the 2-time world champion Torsten Homan. Ahmad Taufik leads Pong Nam Pham 4-1. Levan Corteza, another World Cup winner of the past, just ahead of Pius Labutus at 4-3. Tang Ching Ting got a 2-1 lead over Takashi Orauka. And it's 1-all between Jonas Suter Camino and John Vincent Vicedo of the Philippines. Oscar Dominguez just starting against the British veteran Imran Majid.
We'll see our first look at Kyle's break, and got to believe it'll be on point, no matter if it's a little firmer. I think he has the firm break. I'm not sure he's going to use it. Yeah, he's smashing them. Little action on the 9. Didn't make the 1, but got a friendly nudge off the top point, bringing the 1 back down with the cue ball. And in a great position to get this rack started in our 4th game.
I was talking to him the other day and I said to him, what do you think is the biggest strength of your game? And straight away, very emphatically, he said, oh, definitely the breaking.
Well, we could see by that run out in the last. I mean, it's almost like you don't even get to leave the Philippines unless you got a lot of bases covered in 9-ball pool. And the other thing is the heart that a lot of these players come from the Philippines. Now, a lot of them are raised, at least the older ones, a little more on the action side of things, challenge matches and whatnot. So they'll tend to start off nervous in big events and take a little bit of time to get used to the tournament scene. And I found this with almost, I found this with almost all the Filipinos. I think it was the same with Efren because they talked about him being the best player, but it took him a while to really win those titles. Bustamante may be the least amount that ever really struggled in that regard. But you see it with the Ranas, we see it with De Luna. We've seen it with many Filipinos. It just takes time. And it's the same for all nationalities, all the players. But especially I think if you predominantly come from more of an action scene kind of situation. But also, you know, there's so much benefit in that because you get to spend so much time under pressure, you learn so much.
Amoroto was the winner last year of the Philippines Open. Now, you got to believe that's a hard tournament to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big decision here. I mean, the 6 does go all the way up by the 9. It's got some short side pockets. 6-7 combination, not too difficult if you do get in position, so we'll see. Wants to get somewhat close to the 5, not crazy close, but he wants to be somewhat accurate with the speed. Didn't get a ton of angle here, but just like his break shot, possesses a lot of power. Now does he work the ball behind the 6 somehow? He just play for the combination. He's in a good position to get to the combination, and that's really nice. Now this is a little funny. There's not a lot of angle when cutting the 6 onto the 7. So moving the cue ball, not that easy, not that natural. So probably has to play this light because any speed, the 6 will kind of come off the 7 and go to that bottom rail. So he's kind of got to float this one.
Amoroto started with a 9-4 win over the British player Paul McCarthy, who we saw on the main table at one stage yesterday, and then had an extraordinary second match against Long Duc Tien, which was also played on this table. He was 4-0 down. He led 6-4. Looked like he had a good chance to go 7-4, but passed it up, and it proved to be the start of a run of 3 in a row for Long Duc Tien, who regained the lead at 7-6 before Amoroto then took the next 3. So it went to 16 racks, but there were just 4 runs or swings in the course of the contest.
Well, at the end, I think we're seeing his game just evolve right before our eyes, and his technique has gotten better, and kid's got a lot of heart. He will fire at the pocket.
Just a perfect standard, basically, in the first 4 racks. 1, 2 each. So elsewhere in this winner's qualification round, still 6-4 for FSR against Tolian Han. Pioi and Johan Chua level at 5-all. It's also all square between Ko Po Cheng and Alexa Pechelge at 4-all. Ahmad Taufik is 4-2 up on Pong Nam Pham. Ivan Corteza now 5-3 up on Pius Labutus. James Aranis has now won 9-5 over No Quang Trung. Fedor Gorst has won 9-3 against Masato Yoshioka. It's Neuhausen, World Cup finalist this summer. He's taken the opener against Patrick Gonzalez. Alex Kazak is also winning the first rack in his match against Dutchman Tim de Ruyter.
Yeah, a couple of those Filipino names you mentioned there, Aranis and Corteza, really made maybe some comebacks. They won a couple 9-8 matches yesterday where they were trailing pretty heavily, and now that's what happens with the great players. They get through one that's a little sticky, gives them a little breathing room, and then they bring their best game when it means the most. Well, I'll tell you what, the one keeps hitting that point and coming back with a cue ball. That's certainly, you wouldn't figure by design, but he'll take it as of now. And I'll tell you, Shane is a true competitor, but he loves and appreciates a player that doesn't back down on the break and really gets into him. Makes him feel like he's in that kind of match, you know, big title bout, kind of throwing big blows at each other, and he respects the heck out of that. Now, easy safety kind of with a big wall with the 3, 5, 8, 9. He can kind of bank the one a little bit underneath the 6. Let the cue ball run a couple rails. Should command that speed with so much area for the cue ball, and may nestle up real tight behind those balls as well. Looks to me very, very good. Like I said, just chip it, come across the side pocket, a little past the side. Long rail, short rail, and up onto the back of those. Oh, he's going for the cut. So he feels good about the speed, and you know, I think it's easy for some of the players that have those abilities that are a little higher than others to recognize what's happened on the World Nineball Tour this year and how aggressive the players have been. Kachi, unbelievable how he played at the UK Open. Of course, Johan Shua in the World Cup of Pool, along with Aranis as well. And I think the mentality is going to change a little bit overall. And you're going to take your chances knocking some tough ones in and see if you can keep your opponent in the chair.
Yeah, Kachi, who you mentioned there, was meant to make his return here after his accident a couple of months ago, but then I believe he had some fairly significant travel issues.
Easy to hit this one thick into the short rail. That's the miss, but I'll tell you, he's pretty settled. You see Shane set the cue down there after that ball got knocked in, so he expects Kyle, after 2 great openers, to get the rest of the work done here in Game 5.
I think he'll relish this opportunity to play one of the all-time greats. He struck me when I spoke to him the other day as someone who's full of ambition, really wants to prove himself, and there's a lot of belief.
Yeah, I was heading, towards the offices here, and this is just a few minutes before game time, and he was just, hey JJ, hey JJ, real happy mood, just kind of obviously preparing, but just a great mentality with the young kid. And like you said, I think he's just up for it. He wants to play the greats. That's what it's going to take to win these titles anyways.
I know he's been getting some guidance from Johan Shua. Just not so much in terms of anything technical, but Shua's been a bit of a mentor to him in terms of lifestyle and how to go about practice.
Well, that mentor word, very much connected to mentality, in my opinion, and I think that has a big deal when you're looking at people that you look up for, your road partner, whatever it is. Okay, a little shy here, so he may have a little bump on the 9, a little graze. He's got to just pay attention to it, making sure if he does get it, he doesn't knock it out of position. He may be close enough to avoid it yet. Nice shot.
I can assure you we haven't gone back to the old bigger pockets here. This is the way it used to be, just everything going in. And the word that springs to mind in terms of Amoroto here is impressive. Very much so, playing really well, and he's won 3 in a row now. Van Boening paying a heavy price for his scratch off the break at the start of rack 3. But for that, he would have more likely than not gone 3-0 up. As events have transpired, he's now behind for the first time in the match at 3-2.
You could see a great break off. Played a real thin 1 ball. Bit of a 2-way shot on the 1. You could see the cue ball not only in position on the 3, but behind that little wall of balls up the table. But tell you what, he got a little out of line on a couple little shots, and didn't seem to bother him at all.
So it looks like they're embroiled in a lengthy 11th rack on table 11 between world number 1 Francisco Sanchez Ruiz and To Lian Han. It's been 6-4 to FSR for some time. Naoki Oi is just edged ahead of Johan Chua at 6-5.
There's my pick for the tournament.
Yeah, Naoki.
Yeah, I just think these tables also are going to come to really playing difficult, you know, towards the business end of the event. And he's such a good shot maker, and he leaves a mistake behind. You know, I think he sets up well for this event.
He may be your pick, but I'm guessing your brother Tyler Steyer was the champion.
Yeah,
he's won the first against Roland Garcia. Oh wow! Well, what a start to the match this is.
Well,
playing so well, and then he gets the golden break.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you smash him. You can get a little more action on the 9 with the cue ball coming across, and that one kind of split out of the rack quickly into the lower right corner. Yeah, I always want the Americans to win regardless. You see a little kiss off the blue 2 and then into the 9 squarely. Normally the 9 kind of slow rolls because when the cue ball comes across, it kind of chops the 9 a little more. With that bump on the 2, it hit it right in the face and did not take time to exit the table.
So many matches to stay on top of. Imran Majid has taken the first rack against Oscar Dominguez. Jan van Lierop has taken the second to lead Max Lechner 2-0. Jonas Suto Camino now has a 3-1 lead over John Vincent Fichedo. Mario Hees won the opener against Lou Ri Tang. Alex Kazakis now 2-0 up against Tim de Ruyter. And Moritz Neuhausen also leading 2-0 over Patrick Gonzalez. Ernie Regilario leading the All-Philippines clash against Dennis Orcolio, 1-0. Tang Ching Ting, who beat Mika Immonen earlier in the tournament, has got a 4-1 lead over Takashi Arauca.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the 8 and the blue 2 here. I think he does have another shot. Going to be big blows between these two, you can tell. So Shane just patiently waiting, and of course that's a big word because that's why he's won so many events. He hasn't always steamrolled the field. That's just impossible. You've got to be patient and wait your turn.
Kyle Amoroto has played a big name American in one of these Matchroom Open events already this year. He got all the way to the last 16 of the UK Open in early summer in London. Beaten there by Skylar Woodward. I know there was a 9-ball during the match that he still has big regrets about. Feels if he'd potted that, could all have been a different story that day.
All right, does he come back for the 3-5 combo? Does he? He's overhit this a bit, so I don't know if he. Actually checked up decently. And we can tell already from what he's exhibited here in this match that he wants to stay offensive. That's for sure. Now the 3, if he does play the combination, it should trickle upward a little towards that head spot. It won't move a ton. Now I'm looking at it more and more. Maybe it's not going to move much at all. So I think the safety is really called for here.
Finally, Shane Van Boening gets back to the table.
I'm very happy to do so, even though he's snookered. Probably a 3-rail kick of some sort. Can get a little speed on that. May come 2 rails across it. We'll see. He's going to need a little help here. Nothing easy though. Kind of straight, falling away from the pink 4.
To update you on that hill finish I was telling you about, Torsten Homan has now beaten Andre Ionescu 9-8. So Homan, another player who's been around for a long time and still going strong. That long 11th rack is over between Francisco Sanchez Ruiz and To Lian Han, and instead of getting back to only 1 behind, the Singapore player now trails by 3 because it's gone 7-4.
Well, our first chink in the armor really from Amoroto. Now SVB to respond. Can't quite reach it that well. He may pull this tight trying to. I don't know if he can check the ball. The problem is the 5 only has one pocket up the table. So getting on the pink, he needs an angle, and I'm not sure that path. He may have to take some distance on the pink here, because he doesn't want to catch the purple coming out, just wants to coast up the table lightly. Okay, did knock the 5 into position, so now again, a little bit of a long shot on the 4. He's got to screw the cue ball back maybe a foot or so. Really nice. He's going to fall a little funny here, though, near the rail. If he's straight or falling away from the 6, he's okay. Is he going into the 6 a little bit? Not taking much time, so he's probably all right.
Shane Van Boening has won a ranking event this year, a smaller event in Iowa, back in July. And the big matchroom tournaments this year, it's been a disappointing 2023. His defense of the world title ended at the last 16 stage, beaten in a hill finish by Duong Kwok Wang. And out at the same stage of the UK Open, last 32 of the Spanish. He was beaten there by Skylar Woodward, and then teamed up with him for the World Cup, where they lost to Japan in the last 16. So out in the last 64 of the US Open, as I was saying. Did, though, get to the semi-finals of the European Open, where he was beaten by the eventual winner David Al-Kaidi. So the high quality continues here. Kyle Amoroto won 4 racks in a row. The last of them with a golden break. But he hasn't won this one. It's gone the way of last year's world champion, Shane Van Boening, back to just 1 behind now at 4-3. Still looks like being a close finish between Naoki Oi and Johan Chua. That one is 6-all. Alexa Peichels just got his nose in front of Ko Po Cheng at 5-4. It's 5-all now between Levan Corteza and Pius Labutas of Lithuania, who was a semi-finalist in Spain back in the summer. Bernie Regilario has gone 2-0 up now against his fellow Philippines player, Dennis Rocolio. It's 1-all between Roland Garcia and Tyler Steyer. Where it's Neuhausen off to a very nice start, 3-0 over Patrick Gonzalez, and Tim de Ruyter has just equalised at 2-all against Alexander Kazakis. Dennis Graba of Estonia won the first rack against Jeffrey Ignacio. Mario Hias won the first 2 against Lou Ri Teng. That's pretty much what's going on in winners' qualification at the moment. Round 3 on the loser's side, Marcos Sanz-Martin, who we saw in front of the cameras earlier today, is level at 2-all with Chris Melling. Him, who we saw winning on this table, first matchup, has lost the opening rack to Rafael Gonzalez. So Van Boening has scratched off the break. The last time he did that, Jeremy, he was sitting down for a while. it could make for Kyle Amoroto as he tries to make that transition. If he could win a match like this. The way it's going so far, if he is to win, it's not going to be because Van Boening has made it easy for him, because that hasn't been the case at all. It's going to be because of his own fine play.
Yeah, absolutely, and setting yourself up for the type of play you want to win the tournament. That's the difference. You know, these guys are trying to win matches, but you're wanting to play, you know, the players that really feel like they can win the event. They're wanting to get in that form. That's the form they really want, and then they know things will take care of themselves. For the most part, 9-ball pool, you can't ever know for sure, but all right, just probably a stun, 2 rails. A shot you must have in today's game. All kinds of little variations now. He went 3 rails. It's just as good. Most would have stunned back and forth from that angle, though.
Obviously a big challenge to take on Shane Van Boening. Very big occasion. Just about the biggest in his career so far. How important do you think it is for him, the fact that he's going into that match, having already played on the main table earlier this week?
You mean just trying to get the win over Shane, or?
Well, coming into a match like this, it certainly looks as though he believes he's here for the win. But you're up against one of the best there's ever been. It's got to be a plus that he doesn't also have to deal with the experience of being on the main table and in front of the cameras for the first time. He's already done it this week.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you're training correctly, especially young, a lot of belief. I mean, you really look forward to this, no matter really if it's Shane's home table.
So Van Boening has a very expensive scratch at the start of the 3rd rack. And another one here. So 2 in it once again. Kyle Amoroto leading 5-3 in a match of the very highest quality. Tony Anhan is still battling away. Lost a long 11th rack to Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, but he's responded by taking rack 12 and is still right in the match. 7-5 down there. Yuki Oi just ahead of Johan Chua now at 7-6. Alexa Pechelge has got a 6-4 lead over Po Po Cheng. Hong Nam Pham is close to 4-3 behind against Ahmad Taufik. Pius Labutus now 6-5 up on Livan Corteza. Tang Ching Ting leads Takashi Orauka 4-2. Ernie Regulario has stretched his lead to 3-0 over Dennis Orcolio. Roman Garcia has won a couple in a row to lead Tyler Steyer 2-1. Canadian John Morris won the first against Damien Massey. Lawrence Neuhausen continuing his very strong start to now lead Patrick Gonzalez of the Philippines 4-0. Jeffrey Ignacio now level with Dennis Grabo at 1-all. It's 3-all between Jonas Suto Camino and John Vincent Vicedo, and Jan van Lierop is 3-1 up on Max Leitner. Watch the 9. Second golden break of the match for Kyle Amoroto. And this is looking very promising for him, very dangerous for Shane Van Boening. He could be heading for losers qualification for the 2nd Open event in a row. 2 of his last 3 breaks now have been golden. Tell us about this one, JJ.
Yeah, he got the 9 rock solid again, now cross side, and you know, we talk about it with the break shot. You know, there's a lot of players that have one that's a little lighter and they're playing the one on the side, but you don't get many extras with that one. You know, and that's why, you know, with trying to help these players with the break, you know, they're a genius, but I just remind them, you have to start to develop the harder break. You may not use it this week, you may not use it next week, but you have to keep trying to develop it to when you're ready for it, it's there, and it's going to be a weapon.
Now, of course, we're going to ask all the big questions. Will the young man, if he gets any closer to victory, be able to handle it? All the signs so far are good, but you never really know the answers to those questions until you've seen someone in that situation of having the opportunity to beat a really big name player in front of the cameras in a big event. Amoroto has not been there before. He's 6-3 up now.
Yeah, well, that's the beautiful thing about the Philippines. They come up with big name players next to them all the time. So, you know, Shane Van Boening, of course, arguably the best ever. And, you know, I love Efren Reyes to death, but when it comes to tournament pool, I think Shane is the best ever, in my opinion. I know only one world title, but so many different disciplines. He has so many titles and has done it for some 15 years and through a couple different eras as well. Now trying to take on a younger era. And I think Kyle, you know, he may miss at the end, who knows? You know, that question you were talking about a moment ago, but I think he's fully prepared for this. I don't think he respond the way he did, even though he got a ball in hand, a real important ball in hand in the third game after 2 breaking runs from Shane. But this is what I want to see, a little battle, and not tactically every game, but a little battle here and there, because Shane will test you in that regard as well.
Yeah, it's a good point that he would have been accustomed to being up against good players and the strong scene back in the Philippines, but you add in so much else, the cameras, the setting, everything.
Oh, absolutely,
It's a different challenge for him.
Well, that's just like I talked about earlier. You know, the Filipino players, as great as they are, when they hit the tournament scene, you can tell, and they'll even tell you themselves that, you know, they're nervous. Just not totally like a fish out of water kind of thing, but definitely different. I think Shane made a correct call here, passing the push out. Not going to pass it very often, especially at this level, but I think this is a good one to pass on. He's going to try and come behind the 7, I guess, something like that. Oh, wow, how well did he hit this? And he was not going to get the snooker, or is he? I think he did. So far, been all on the positive side for the youngster Kyle. It's got to go. It's got to go. You had to kind of swerve it a little bit, like a level swerve. A lot of people don't realize that happens so much in our game. You know, when the back of the cue's elevated, it's obvious they're swerving the ball, but just a little bit there, and that's a touchy one from some 9 feet away. When you talk about the tournament scene and the lights, and of course all these players want a huge title, why wouldn't they? But it's the same we talk about with the Moscone Cup every year. You can have a #1 player on the rankings and certainly going to make the team. But if he's never been in that setting, or even if they have, you know, things can become a problem out there quickly. And this was a little bit overhit. But again, with the top players, they recover better than most. He's got an angle, a soft angle to draw a little bit towards the 6, taking a little cut on the purple 5. But you can hear it, you can see it if you know what to look for. But you can certainly hear it. This Kyle, he's definitely a ball striker. Meaning a little distance isn't going to slow him down.
Just explain what you mean by that term, Jeremy, that he's a ball striker.
Well, it's just crisp, you know what I mean? It's just clean. It's just, he's not slapping at the ball. Just the timing at impact is very, very good. And sometimes the swing kind of isn't so good, believe it or not, sometimes even with the greats, but they know how to recover at impact just a little bit better. It's just, you know, in every sport, you know, we see it in every sport, it seems like. You know, it's almost like, you know, talk about MJ, you know, Michael Jordan. Of course, he was great in so many ways, but everything was good. You know, when he made a pass, you could see it was a little different than everyone else. It wasn't, it was just done how it's supposed to be, you know. Okay, an odd stretch here and a big moment, and maybe a shot he's going to play safe, it looks like now. Wow, is he looking to cut this? No way. No way, really? Look at this, he's going to really spin it in, come a couple rails and zip the cue ball back. Be really unfortunate to get snookered. Wow. And that's what all it's been for these two, right? 2 unfortunate scratches for Shane. Now, one of the shots of the tournament ends up coming some 12, 13 feet around the table, nestling right behind the black.
You're spot on there. They're both playing so well, but it is coming down to little things like that at the moment.
Oh, these tables are tough. We've seen it all week, right? Especially this table, we've seen them struggle. So, of course, these are two heavyweights, like I said earlier, throwing big blows back and forth. Wouldn't be surprised if he buries this. All right, it's going to come available for Shane, so he knows. And he knew going ahead of time he's got to play a real solid match here.
We spoke there about how it's really all turned on little swings of fortune and misfortune. And now that pendulum has fallen in Van Boening's favour, and Amoroto getting hooked. The previous shot knows he's going to capitalise on that as effectively as Amoroto has on what's fallen his way.
Like I said, people don't realize that this is going to fall real funny for just being a foot away, but Shane loves these kinds of contests. He really does. Of course, you want to win matches easily, and as a higher rated player, one of the best in the world, you're going to get a lot of those, but these big ones he really gets up for.
Like the shot that's unlocked this 10th rack. We've seen quite a few matches, particularly yesterday on the main table this week. A lot of balls missed, a lot of mistakes being made. May well have been down to aspects of the conditions. This has been about as high a quality as you could ever hope to see.
Yeah, absolutely. They've made this table look like it's got 5-inch pockets. Well, meanwhile, it's 4-inch, and you know how tough the sides are as well. So pure class for both so far.
Well, with a bit more good fortune, Kyle Amoroto could have been 7-3 in front there. Instead, it's Shane Van Boening who has capitalised on Amoroto getting hooked. And so it goes 6-4 in favour of the young man from the Philippines. Now, we may well have another couple of players through to single elimination in the next few minutes. We will have one from table 15 because it's hill-hill now between Naoki Oi and Yoan Chua. I'll tell you, whoever loses that one, if they then get through losers qualification, will be someone with a big name to want to avoid in the draw later. Alexa Pechelge is on the hill at 8-4 against Ho Po Cheng. Ahmad Taufiq now leads Hong Nam Pham 4-3. And actually another player has just got to the hill, Pius Labutus, now leading 8-5 against Lee and Corteza. Labutus has been enhancing his reputation throughout 2023. Could add another significant result there. Tang Ching Ting 5-2 up on Takashi Orauka. Rodney Regalario has a 4-1 advantage against Dennis Rocolio. Roland Garcia now leads Tyler Steyer by the same score. 3-0 for John Mora over Damian Massey. Moritz Neuhausen 5-0 against Patrick Gonzalez. 3-all between Alex Kazakis and Tim de Ruyter. Dennis Graba 4-1 up on Jeffrey Ignacio. Mario He leading Lou Ritang 4-0. Honasuto Camino has a 5-3 advantage against John Vincent Pacheco. That's just gone 6-3. Jan van Leerock 4-1 up on Max Lechner. Just one more score. Oscar Dominguez leads Imran Majid 2-1. How has this turned out?
Yeah, it could have turned out better, and of course Shane will recognize how well Powell's playing. You know, you're not going to assume anything even with mistakes, but it's always difficult to push out. No, he's not. Is he not pushing out here? I thought he was snookered. You know, it's a tight pocket going by the 7, but can he beat the kiss if he has to play safe here, trying to cross this ball over? He beat the kiss, and look at this behind the purple, and this is where Shane doesn't get enough credit, and that's why, like, he rolls out to the toughest bare ball safeties you'll ever see, and bets he can perform and you can't, maybe.
Well, that was where the fortune went against him, getting into that position off the break. But in this case, he's turned it to his advantage. For Amoroto, quite a spot here. That could certainly have gone worse.
Yeah, a little bit thin here. Just got to pay attention. Wants to carry an angle on the 3. If he gets on that 3, you can see the rest of the balls. The 5 has a couple pockets. The 6 over the side. He's not going to get that angle. Not going to get that angle. And overhit this by some piece.
And that was the thing, as I was saying, it could have turned out worse. As we saw from there, the pot on the 2 is a bit more straightforward than it perhaps looked from the original angle, but as you've alluded to there, the way they'd fallen, position was the challenge.
Yeah, and the way these pockets are playing, you may see him play a very difficult rail first here. Yeah, hitting a high ball. I got to believe this is rail first. The key to this shot is don't baby it so much. Get through the ball. The ball pocket opens up.
We may just have seen what we'll be looking back on as the key moment in this contest.
Yeah, and I didn't think the 2 was that difficult to hold the angle, but of course they're at the table and Shane rarely misses the speed by that much. We can't always be perfect, but really that was the shot. Just gain the angle on the 3, and the rest you got to feel like it was gonna get there pretty easily. So his first real mistake in the match, that one safety from distance where he had to swerve it. I don't look at that as a big error, but that one certainly a bit on him.
It's so important in a situation like this, Jeremy, where you're closing in on a landmark victory, to keep your own natural rhythm. We've seen he's a fast, fluent player, and it's important to keep playing his own way and not start overthinking it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if he takes a hair more time on a shot, that's okay, but just don't let that start to creep into doubt on what you're thinking. You know, I mean, we've all seen them through sports and pool and whatnot. They back off a shot for one reason or another, but don't let it start to be doubtful kind of thing. That's the main one. 3 rails for position here. Only because he got a little out of position. And watch out, cue ball. It's moving. It's moving. Oh, my. And I don't know if it got him or not. And he got a little bump away from it. Doesn't seem so concerned, so I think he's all right. But that's what happens. You get a little out of line on one ball, and you have to move the cue ball a lot more. You never know. Uh-oh. He's starting to leak a little oil with the cue ball. But the good thing, again, this is where you can lean on a lot of matches and kind of calm yourself down. And, you know, when things start to get a little out of line, you know, you could overhit a ball like this, hit a little thick and miss this 7. I think he'll regroup okay. We'll just wonder how awkward the cueing is with the 9 near. Now, I think Kyle can regroup it after a mistake, but the one thing about if he makes a mistake on this rack from here, you know, how bad do the pool gods mistreat him? You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens, and it doesn't take just one of the lesser players, or let's say a player down the totem pole a little bit, to start having those things creep in. It's just a human nature kind of thing.
Well, this has all the look of being the most significant rack of the match so far. Double kiss from Van Boening when he missed the pot from distance. Shane Van Boening the chance go 3 clear once again. But he's passed it up, and so Van Boening is going to clear up. And all of a sudden, there's only one in it. At 6, racks to 5, 2 in a row then. And the American superstar. So the world number 2, still got work to do here, and the world number 1 is having his own problems because Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, after winning that lengthy 11th rack, has lost 2 in a row to Tolian Han. So that one is now 7-6. Naoyuki Oi, your pick for the title, Jeremy, has won. He's in the final 64. He's taken that deciding rack and claimed the notable scalp of World Cup winner Johan Chua. 4-all now between Pong Nam Pan and Ahmad Taufik. Tang Ching Ting closing in on victory, 7-2 over Takashi Orauka. Bernie Regalario having a great day in the All-Philippines clash with Dennis Rocolio, that's 7-1. Roland Garcia, 5-1 up on Tyler Steyer. Patrick Gonzalez has avoided the whitewash, but still a long way behind against Moritz Neuhausen at 6-1. Alex Kazakis and Tim de Ruyter are 3-all. Dennis Graba is 4-2 up. Jeffrey Ignacio. Mario He has a 4-0 lead against Lou Riteng. Honasuto Camino pulling away a bit, 6-3 over John Vincent Fachado. 2-all now between Oscar Dominguez and Imran Majid. They're the updates. Here it's 6-5. And Boening one behind as he breaks. This match has turned into something of a breaking masterclass on both sides. And this is very sweet for Van Boening now.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. You know, it's not so much if he'll respond if given the chance, but what chance may it be? Wants to lay underneath this a little bit. Wants a, ooh. Wasn't so sure about that one, and now he got a little funny. Anytime you're playing a combination, you don't have much angle. It's all about what's going to happen after the combination is made. Now, I think he can play a double kiss here on the 7. Just kind of hit it lightly and full and hold the 3 over the pocket, double kissing the 7 in. He played it firm, and I'm a little shocked, to be fair. He was thinking he was going to make both possibly, so he wanted to hold position on the purple 5, but Shane really makes that kind of, I wouldn't say error, but judgment call. I think he should have realized the double kiss was going to be there. And he's real good at edging the ball, so he's going to edge it over, trying to use the 6 and 5 and come back down the table.
Would it be fair to say, though, that playing that previous shot at that pace, there was less chance of them both going in?
Yeah, especially the way the 7 sat. And the 7 sat on the right. That's why I say I'm surprised he didn't recognize that a bit more. He may have left a gap here on the red 3. Kyle looks pretty happy coming to the table. This may serve a gap as well. I think it is.
If you were going to script a pool match, I think this is the sort of thing you'd come up with. Really high quality at the start, a couple of golden breaks thrown in along the way, and then as we start to move towards the decisive stages of it, we see a bit more tactical play, a few mistakes coming into it, just to add a bit more interest to the narrative. And of course, at the backdrop of an all-time great against a relative newcomer. Real treat here on the main table on day 3 in Hanoi.
Yeah, and just like this 3 ball, you know, those fireworks we saw from both players the early part of the match. There were a lot of big shots. It wasn't, you know, as our colleague likes to say, throw-ins or road maps on these racks. And we know the tables are tough, so really no shot can be taken off. That's going to rub a little bit of a rail, but Shane's timing, I think, has gotten better. I think it allows for a little bit bigger pocket at times. So looking to cozy over, getting nestled up near the 8. Still not quite sure at times. A couple shots he wasn't 100% that it was going in, and 100% the cue ball was going to be okay. Hadn't played a whole lot of matches here. You know, he got a walkover in the first.
Yeah.
Pretty easy match in the second.
So since he went behind at 3-2, Shane Van Boening has always been behind. Until now, though, he trailed 6-3. All sorts of things have happened in the 3 racks since then. The key thing is, though, SVB has won them all, and that's why he's now back on level terms at 6-all in this winner's qualification match at the Hanoi Open. Oscar Dominguez has won the 5th rack to go 3-2 up now on Imran Majid. Honasuto Camino's a couple away from single elimination, 7-3 against John Vincent Fachado. Louis Tang has finally got off the mark, but trails Mario He 4-1. Dennis Graba is 4-3 up. Jeffrey Ignacio still pretty close between Alex Kazakis and Tim Gereuter. In fact, as close as you can be. It's 3-all. John Morrow of Canada is having a good day. Leads Britain's Damien Massey 4-0. Nam Pam is aged 5-4 ahead of Ahmad Tawfiq. Tolian Han has now won 3 racks in a row and is level with Francisco Sanchez Ruiz at 7-all. So that's a big one to keep an eye on as well. Back to the main table, we're at 6-all. Ooh, we almost had our 3rd golden break of the match there. You don't see many of them at that end of the table.
Yeah, and the break really started off incredibly for Shane, and ever since that 3rd rack where he had a scratch, the break's been really not his friend at all. He had another awful kiss for a scratch. Kyle on the other end had 2 golden breaks, and now a a dry break at the very worst time for SVB. Well, there's some work though. The first 3 aren't too bad, but then the 4 to the 5 to the 6, going up and down the table.
More big questions here, aren't there? You've had a big lead, it's been wiped out, you've got a chance, but it's a challenging one. There are tests to come through here. Are you up to it?
Doesn't want to fall too straight. Again, the real work is from the 5 to the 6. Don't think the 9's in too bad of a spot. Though near that point, just past the side. Ooh, that one got a little shaky, and now the cue ball out of line. You know, and I talk about Anton Raga, who I saw a lot of. When he gets down on the ball, he pulls the trigger pretty quickly, and the same seems to be with Kyle. This was set up a couple moments ago. Let's see what happens if he gets a little out of line on a ball. It kind of led to a mistake here just a few games ago. Now he's got to go with it, kind of between the 7-8. He can put inside, going between the 7-9. Both are going to require some side. We know he's definitely not playing safe. So it looks like he's keeping it pretty natural with the tip position. Uh-oh, okay, he's all right. Went between the 7-8, but what if he falls on the rail straight here? And that's what happens when you start to get out of line on a ball couple innings earlier. It can affect you down the road.
Just some news to bring you about what's coming up next. On table 1, Gary Wilson, the former World Snooker Championship semi-finalist, will be in an all-British clash with Elliot Sanderson. It's in losers qualification.
See what I mean? That led from the shot on the 4 is what really got him out of line on the 6. Made a beautiful shot on the 5, but he had to succumb to what the table was giving him because he got out of line on that 5 and made the 6 a little more difficult.
So a moment of big opportunity to reassert himself in this match. Has passed by Kyle Amoroto, and they are not good signs. What we're looking at there.
Yeah, this is all up to Shane, of course. You know, the way Kyle's really going to lose that little frame of mind he's having at the moment right now is by some mistake from Shane. This has got to slow down just a little, and it did. Now he could pull the ball out for the opposite corner. He can come for the side. He's got options. And the overhead tells us the 9 does play in the middle. I'm not saying he'll do that, but I'll tell you, I guess kind of where he got, good thing it does play in the middle, because a little off angle here.
He's just so good at this, isn't he? He doesn't get caught up in the emotion of the moment and the drama of Amoroto running out of ideal position and missing. He's so clinical in situations like that. The last time Shane Van Boening led in this match was at 2-1. He's now won 4 in a row to finally grab the lead back at 7-6. Just to wrap up what I was saying about what's coming up next, on table 2, another losers qualification match. Sanjin Pelovanovic against BJ Ussery. The American is trying to get into the Mosconi Cup team for the first time. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has just edged back in front. He had lost 3 racks in a row to Tolian Han, but crucially he's won the 15th and he's on the hill now at 8-7. Alexa Pechelge was on the hill. He's off it now into the last 64, 9-4 over Bo Po Cheng. Pius Labuzis is also through. Really finished strongly there to win 9-5. Lee Van Corteza.
Okay, he started off with 2 breaking runs. He'd sure love to end it with a couple right here. He has threatened the side a little bit, you know, on his own, coming 1 row at it, so he's got to shore that up. Oh, he just smashes him. Is he going to get another off? Oh, my goodness. What is going on here, folks?
3rd time in the match that he scratched off the break, and he's surveying the table, clearly returning to his chair, knowing that can cost him.
Yeah, he's hit that rack perfect, exactly by design, zigzagging the cue ball across the spot, that middle spot. That's why we always get so much action on the 9, because that's what the players are trying to do. I wonder, is the red 3 lined up for a combination on the 8? If it's not, this is difficult, and the reason why is you have to get in position on the 3 to get to the pink 4, even though they're not that far apart. If you're above the 3, you have to play off the 8 in some kind of way, and then things are very hard to calculate. And the 6 is really kind of hampering the draw down the rail of the cue ball to get in the greatest position on the 3. So, yeah, this has got a lot going on with it, even though he's got ball in hand. Yeah, I like this initial look coming down the rail where he put the cue ball, but we'll see. That's what he's looking at. He's now looking at, can I shoot the 3 and draw off at the 8 to get in position onto the pink 4. He's got other options. He could put the cue ball on the long rail and draw between the 9 and 7 3 cushions around towards the pink to get on that. Oh, that's got to slow down. Ooh, he got a friendly bump. I think he was going to be snookered. So now, got some fortune in the last game to get a look after some misfortune from Shane. Again, now with ball in hand, even though it wasn't easy, kind of immediately out of line. So film the heat a bit, maybe. Where's he going? Is he going to get the hook? Don't think so. So anytime you know you're not going to get the snooker, the rail speed with the cue ball is so important, and he did a nice job there. Now Shane, look, there's no traffic in the middle, so very hard to get a snooker with such a bare middle of the table. So it should be something like cut the 3 into the 8 to hold the 3 with the 8, kind of replacing it, and run the cue ball a couple rails back up table. There's a few other little delicate shots there, but most would play what I just mentioned. That way you can let the stroke out a little bit. You don't have to guide it so much. Oh, he's overcut it. He may fluke it. That was a little bit of a fluke there.
talked so much about how the early stages of this match were dominated by swings brought about by bits of fortune and misfortune on either side. Let's have a look there.
Well, I think that's the first real fortunate thing that Shane's had on his side, and that's just calling it how I see it. I mean, Kyle hadn't had a lot of fortune besides a couple golden breaks, really, and that's huge, of course, but he hasn't really made a big mistake and then got lucky behind it. This is funny. I mean, distance, do you really want to power this ball in with draw to come out for the angle? If you roll it, you could get over the 8, having to shoot the 6 from distance. So this is the types that separate the men from the boys. Is he going back and forth? Really nice pinch in the cue ball. It was necessary to get that angle. You could see the 7 across the table, and then he has to get back on the 8. Now, if the 8's laid up somewhere, getting on the 7 so good isn't such a big deal. Got to slow down. This is going to be a little awkward. He has options, but Pocket wants to tighten up a little bit with a high ball here. So if he goes high right a couple rails around, he's also got to avoid getting straight in on the 8 with the 9 down table. But makes for a little bit more missable ball. So this is where you want to float 2 rails into position if you can. He went ahead and said, heck with that. That's most of us mortals that like to float into position there, but Shane just thumps it into the back of the pocket. And that's the difference, in my opinion, with what we see now in 9-ball pool with the World 9-ball Tour. It's heavyweights out there, and they're fighting for it every chance they get.
Shane Van Boening dominated the first couple of racks. It was 2-0 up. Never been more than 1 clear since then. For most of that time he was behind, but now finally that 2-rack gap is restored, and he only needs 1 more to advance. And we talk about someone trying to cause an upset and they get in a promising position, and then all these different questions that are asked about whether or not they can finish the job. But the other thing that makes it so hard to see it through when you're in a position to pull off an upset is that the very best players are so good at closing out matches, and perhaps nobody better in the modern game than Shane Van Boening.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And another thing that'll show you why he's so good here in a moment is he's had 3 unlucky scratches off the break, I think it is.
3 times he scratched, yeah.
Yeah, 2 of them very unlucky for sure, and 1 of them had a graze of a kiss, but now it's his last break, and he knows it. But all the bad luck he's had, the reason why he closes so well is he's still not going to back off. He's still going to go in there and crush the balls on the break and just see what happens. So many times I had to teach myself. A lot of times in my last break, I'd be like, oh, don't scratch, don't let nothing bad happen. And then I kind of hit him with my purse at times, but you're not going to see that here.
Cisco Sanchez Ruiz was pulled back from 7-4 to 7-all against Tolian Han, but he's taken the next 2. He's survived a scare, winning 9-7. As Shane Van Boening will survive his own scare here.
Well, this is why we come and watch, or at least I think it's the best thing in pool is the best players coming with the biggest shots, and now a decision on a long, tough 2-ball. The only thing that I think is making it a decision is he's got a real natural safety to put him behind the 3-9, but I think he's going to attack. Like, he's got a safety. You see the 3-9, 4-8? He can bank the 2 up the middle of the table, come off the right long rail, in rail, and then up behind those balls, and a big target. And that's the only reason he's thinking. He recognized it immediately, but that's the only reason he's thinking possibly not to shoot. The way he's winding up there, it makes me think he's going to go into the 3-9 off the bottom rail. Just saw the old little bit of the crazy eyes we used to talk about with Shane. Really opens him up wide. Big breath of oxygen. And he's attacking Michael. May have fluked it if it's enough speed.
Well, it isn't going to be, so instead, it's going to leave a chance which really represents much the most testing moments of Kyle Amoroto's young career so far, because he'll win this and back to 8-7, then breaking with a chance to take it hill. Suddenly it's a different contest again.
Yeah, and you say you might be at home wondering about that miss, but oh my, a little shy here. Now the 4-8 very playable, so shouldn't be a problem, but it's been a little the cue ball for Kyle that's gotten him a little out of sorts, in my opinion.
Definitely the last few racks. We've seen it a number of times, haven't we?
Yeah, nice shot there to recover, but that last 2-ball on Shane's, it was just an odd way to kind of hit that slight stun from some distance. I thought he may simplify it and just kind of play it to where maybe a rolling ball. Now the concern here for Kyle is if he shoots the 4-8, the 4 is going to drop a little towards that rail, and he may have to play a 4-9 combo instead to advance in the rack. And he's going a little away from that as well. That's why he looked at the 4 by the 7 and by the 8 in the upper corner. That's what he's shooting. Yeah, real nice. Center of the pocket there.
I spoke to him before his match against Long Duc Tien. He was asking me what table he was playing on. He didn't even know he was on the main table. And when I told him, he seemed completely unfazed by the prospect, maybe even a bit excited by it. Signs of that kind of confidence and comfort in this environment bode well for what lies ahead, which is a close finish to a match against one of the best we've ever seen. 6-3 up, lost 5 racks in a row, but he's won that one. He'll now be breaking with a chance to take it all the way. Match of the tournament so far for me, Jeremy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's look elsewhere in this round. Ahmad Tawfiq now 6-5 up against Huang Nam Pham. Tang Ching Ting has won 9-2 over Takashi Orauka. Bernie Reggalario has finished it off. A 9-1 win over Dennis Orcolio. Roland Garcia closing in on victory, 7-2 over Tyler Steyer. John Morrow of Canada leads Britain's Damien Massey 5-1. It's Neuhausen still moving towards a comfortable win, it seems. 7-3 he leads Patrick Gonzalez. Alexander Kazakis has just levelled at 4-all with Tim de Ruyter. Dennis Graba leads Jeffrey Ignacio 6-4. Shane Wolford just starting against Michael Bownan. Alban Ocean just getting underway against Antonius Kakaris. Mario He needs a couple more racks. 7-1 he leads Lou Rite. Honasuto Camino has got it done. 9-3 over John Vincent Pacheco. Jan van Lierop leads Max Lechner of Austria 5-3. Niels Fyan and Gerson Martinez are just getting started. It's 1-all there. Oscar Dominguez and Imran Majid a bit more advanced in their match, but they're also level at 4 apiece. Kyle Amoroto is aiming to get level here. Have to hit that too much harder for the 9 to have had the legs to get there and give him his 3rd golden break. The 9 seemed to lose pace a bit. I'm sure it got a nudge off something else. It was all going so fast. Anyway, let's get a chance here.
Yeah, big wall of balls to get behind it. Want something tucked in there, keep away the jump cue maybe. That's what we'll see.
Yes, I was going to say that the chance not to close it out from there and take us to 8-all, but the chance to play a good safety, which is what he's done.
Trying to bang this around, draw the side rail. Oh, he caught it a little thin. So we'll see how Kyle wants to play this. There is a tricky 3-ball, it appears. A little long distance for a 2-9 combo. He was trying to hit that thicker and draw one rail behind the 7. Caught it a little thin, maybe a little too much right English, kind of curved the cue ball. This is odd. A lot of distance between the 2 and 9 to play a combination. You know, a lot of people say never shoot them combinations like that, and of course that one again, very difficult. But the 3 is very, very ugly. The 3-6 combinations are pretty easy. Could hold the 3 pretty doable with that. Could try to get short side. He's going to go for the combo. So this is where the tighter pockets really make a huge difference, in my opinion. Combination like this, you could hit this to the upper point pretty easily and hang it. And I feel like he's a favorite to make it. Absolutely, I wouldn't do anything but bet on him. But
this is to take us all the way. He's had golden breaks, he's had run-outs from the break. Now he's pulled off a 2-9 combination, and from 8-6 down and having lost 5 racks in a row, Kyle Amoroto has made it back to 8-all. He'll be breaking in the deciding rack with a chance to beat the former world champion, Shane Van Boening. Before we get to that last rack, let me update you on what's going on elsewhere. Oscar Dominguez is now ahead of Imran Majid at 5-4. Jan van Lierop leads Max Lechner by the same score, as we see that 2-9 combo again. Mario He 7-2 up on Lou Reed Tang. Ritz Neuhausen is now on the hill. 8-3 over Patrick Gonzalez. Roland Garcia is on the hill as well. The Philippines player leads Tyler Steyer by 8 racks to 2. They are the other big stories currently going on in winners' qualification. Dimitris Loukatos got to the quarterfinals of the UK Open. He won't be getting to single elimination here though. Amiel Leonor of the Philippines has beaten him 8-5. That's on the loser's side of the draw. Also on that side, Rafael Gonzalez of the Philippines leads the former world and US Open champion Mika Immonen 5-4. Chris Melling is through to loser's qualification with an 8-4 win over Marcos Sanz Martin. What a match this has been. Quality, drama, unexpected mistakes along the way, and it all comes down to this one rack.
all right, cue ball up the table. Never seem to have a break and run in these big ones when it's hill, Michael. And it doesn't seem like we're going to have one here. Almost feel like we had a better chance at a golden break than having a break and run.
Just one more result. I told you Roland Garcia was on the hill. He's finished it off now against Tyler Steyer, 9-2. So Steyer is going to have to go to the loser's qualification if he's to make the final 64. And there he will face either Lu Hee-chan or Sakura Muramatsu. Lu Hee-chan leading 4-3 at the moment. Let's get our focus though back to this one.
he's going to challenge him, it looks like. Can't imagine that, though. You got to push out over by the left side pocket, I believe. Even though it may be a very doable safety, you cannot push out to the challenge here, I don't think anyways. It's got to be by the left middle.
Real big-time feel to this match now, isn't there? We always see when big stories are emerging in the early days of these tournaments, crowds gather round, and of course here, because of the gymnasium arena that we're in, there's plenty of seating, so it's all tiered up and banked. Really adds to the cauldron atmosphere of this final rack.
Yeah, I think if he rolls out to the jump behind the 6, he's going to get it back. I truly believe that. Don't think Shane's going to take that on. So if he's willing to go down with the jump shot, whichever one it may be, I think he gets it back. But I think it's got to be near the left middle with the cue ball. You have to leave something to where you know the safety isn't totally easy. There is a shootable shot here, though. That's cuttable. Thought it'd be a little more towards that upper knuckle on the left middle. And I'll tell you, he's not getting this back, that's for sure. I mean, whether it be the safety or the shot, Shane's definitely taking this on. You got to believe it's off the right edge here. Come and drop it down below the purple. Now, unless he leaves the side somehow, the 6 is going to help him out. It's got to go. It's got to go. I think there is a snip on the right side, so we'll see. This 6-ball may have cut things off, and he may have a little luck, who knows? Snooker. And the 6-ball is really a punishing ball here for the 2-rail kick. Hardest jump there is, close to the ball and having to go a long distance. Any miss hit on the cue ball, he could whiff this too. He's looking to go behind it. Wow. I'll tell you what. He's only got a piece of the 3, it looks like, so that's going to help him. But anytime you're coming behind it and you're going up in the air quickly, this is going to be a weak ball. So I may not get a rail if he comes behind it. Oh, no, he got a ton on him. How good is that? Take the pot. Take the pot, sir. You know how square you have to hit that cue ball? Anything left or right, you're done.
This is what we want the final rack to be, isn't it?
Yeah, want that fight. Shot after shot, and big ones, that is.
Quality early on was just off the scale. It was perfection, really, just punctuated by bits of luck and scratches here and there, golden breaks. As we've moved into the final third or thereabouts of the contest, seen this side of the game come to the fore as well, and that's generally been of a high quality too.
Yeah, he's going to go for the make. Doesn't have all the ball anyways. The 9 has him a little cut off the full hit on the 2. Probably adds a little right English instinctively here, so watch out for, again, any miss hit. Could not even hit it. Oh, what a shot again. Oh, my. Oh,
my. Earlier on, I was saying the match was turning into a breaking masterclass. Now, it's a clinic of a different sort.
Yeah. The run-out part of the game's always going to be there, but the World Nineball Tour, as smart as they are, made appropriate rule changes so we can see things like this. You know, the exchanges from both players.
Young players generally, they just want to get out there and pot everything. It's great to see someone of Kyle Amoroto's age and the satisfaction it's given him playing a shot of that nature.
Can he not go between the 5-9 and try and put a heavy spin, trying to masse, somewhat curve the cue ball, and get to that side rail with a lot of left and get at that too? I thought that was going to be his only play, really, after the shot made by Kyle. I think that's what we're going to see here. Boy, and I'll tell you how treacherous this is, because all ball fouls, you're hitting that left English, a heavy left English, and you know what's right next to the cue ball, that red 3. Now Shane, he likes this shot, but the key to this shot is you have to give it time to bend. Sometimes it's easy, especially in the moment, to overhit this and the ball bounce a little bit and not really arc like you want it. He's trying to go one rail at it, so he's got to keep it more like medium. Much better, much better.
Oh, he's going to scratch.
No, he's not.
The crowd were thinking the same way as me, Jeremy, but you knew better.
Yeah, but you see how much smoother, and you could see the bend right in the middle of the table with the right English and the draw right there, just passing the 7.
The matches we saw here yesterday, and we were thinking, if this is someone's first glimpse of Nineball, they're never going to watch it again because there were so many mistakes going on. This is the total opposite. We've had everything to the highest order here.
Yeah, it's been the red 3 that Kyle's really utilized with some fantastic safeties with the jump on 1 and a really extreme clip. Now this one a little more straightforward, but a lot of the same. Trying to bank the 2 between the 7-9 and float the rock behind the red. Now he went into the red. This may get away a little bit. And now a big decision for Shane. Wasn't terrible by our Amoroto, but it's funny too, right? The other ones were so difficult and he hit them perfect. That one had a little more opening, but he was really guarding on the 2 ball. So now Shane can cut the 2 into the pink. Good bank at this, you know, with a somewhat big pocket with the red 3 in the lower left. Most likely he plays the 2 into the pink, trying to hold the 2 with the pink and come 2 rails behind the 5-9. That's the percentage play, but you can throw that out the window if you're feeling something. That's why I know pool's a true sport, because it's not so cut and dry. It has a lot to do with emotion. He's going to catch the 9. He's going to need some help here. And he's left the potting end of that 2 ball, pocketable ball here.
Talked a lot about big questions being asked. Here's one now. Have you got it in you to cut this 2 in, come round for the 3, see it home from there to defeat SVB?
Yeah, and he won't rifle this ball, but it will have a little speed on it. I think it's, I don't know, though, the more I look at it.
Looks different from there, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he can definitely get at it, but can he get at enough of it? I think he can, actually.
From there, it seems he can. Let's find out.
Is he going to get a roll? No, he's not. So Shane Van Boening with the real first pure shot in this case game.
talked about how Van Boening is so good at keeping us cool in these situations. You've got the crowd oohing and ahhing. He's so good at putting all of that to one side, focusing on his job, getting things finished. And now he's got a chance to win this match.
Yeah, one of his favorite shots, really, pulling the cue ball 1-2 rails between the 4-6, back to the left long rail and dropping down to the bottom for the red 3. A lot of people say, let me hit this easy. He's not going to do that. He's going to go ahead and get really nice position on the 3, like it's the first game. Yeah, he loves that shot right there. And that's another reason why he's such a great finisher, because he really doesn't change a whole lot just because it's hill-hill. Doesn't always work out, of course, but this is going a little on top of it. And something I certainly didn't expect. Yeah, that shot there, the key to that shot is to feel like you're slowly pulling it up that side rail. If you get into the ball and you miss your mark a little bit, it's not going to grab because the rail's right next to the object ball, right? So it's kind of like a boom boom effect. And now Amoreto's got to be feeling like $1 million. He's going to get back to the table. I would look at this for a moment. We're no shot clock, so most likely you want to edge this, but he could maybe put him behind the 6 and bank the pink back down as well. Now this is going to offer the jump cue if he does get the snooker, so unless he puts the 4 in a really good position. He's trying to put the 4 above the 6 as he comes 3 rails between the 8 and 9. How good a control is that, by the way? How good is that? The problem is, Michael, by him having to play save, now Kyle has options. And what I mean by that is he may surrender ball in hand here and tie up the 8 and 9, trying to lengthen the game later in the rack.
Any lengthening of the game, I think, would go down well with this growing crowd here at Hanoi.
Especially with not a very good kick shot here. Now, the one thing is, when's the last time you've seen, if he does tie up the 8-9, when's the last time we've seen a 3-foul situation come up between 2 great players and Hill?
There's an upper tier of seating as well, and people are starting to pile into that. Looking over from other tables, all eyes on this.
Yeah, well, Matchroom set these up where the spectators, once they go into the stands, they can get a view of everything, but none more closer to any other table than this one here. That's why I say this is a decision. He doesn't have the greatest of kicks here, especially on the slick table. He'd like to be able to roll this and try and lay on the 4 off a couple cushions. Oh, side pocket, 7 ball. Surprised he kicked with a lot of speed, but hey, listen, if you're feeling like speed's the way to go, that's what you do. All right, Shane's got to regroup. Well, they never lay easy though, huh, Michael, to finish, it seems like, between 2 great players.
That's it. You have all the pressure to add in as well, but quite honestly, I think if there's one player you would back in a situation like this, one who you want to send out there to win a match for you in these circumstances, it's the man at the table.
Yeah, and I might be biased, but I think that's a decision most of the world would take, not just the Americans. All right, is he just going to hold here and accept a shot? Is he going to try and improve position off the 5? Got a little angle, so he can go forward. Really good. He got just about as good as you could there.
You know, it's so easy to fall into the cliche of saying Kyle Amoroto is a young player, he'll learn from this and we'll see so much more from him in the future, and he can take a lot of encouragement about how close he's pushed us. He won't want to hear it at the moment if he does end up losing the match. But I think in this case it's very true, because at times he's looked so good and so fluent, shown he's got all the potential to be a top player, and he hasn't done a great deal wrong. Yes, he's made a few mistakes along the way, passed up 1 or 2 chances, but it's not like he's crumbled here.
Yeah, and I'm always going to tell you how I see it. Wasn't as fluid a stroke there on the 6. He wanted to pinch it a little more. Didn't want to fall on this side of the 7. I think fortunate for Shane, it didn't go too far past. I think he can still draw back for the 8. Can't play a high ball as well. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh my.
Roar in Hanoi, underlining the significance of what we may just have seen. Because Kyle Amoroto has now got what in ordinary circumstances would be such a straightforward finish. It's just all about whether he can set aside what it all means. He's bracing himself for the moment. Could be the biggest moment of his pool playing life so far.
And Shane, it's going to be a hard one, but he wasn't unhappy the way he struck it. Just again, he got a little out of line on the 7.
It was a straightforward 8-9 to finish. If you want a better pool match than that, you're just asking too much. Amoroto led 6-3. He lost 5 in a row to trail 8-6. Got it back to Hill. Looked as though he was going to lose it, but Van Boening is scratched. There was very little left to do. Under that kind of pressure, you never know what might go wrong. And Amoroto, to be fair, made the 8 and 9 look as easy as they truthfully were. And it means that just like the US Open, Shane Van Boening is going to have to come through the loser's side here. Kyle Amoroto, the 21-year-old from the Philippines, has beaten him by 9 racks to 8 and is through to the final 64 single elimination stage of the Hanoi Open. These are some of the moments that took us there. If you were speaking to someone who hadn't seen that match and you wanted to talk them through everything that happened in it, you need to settle in for a lengthy conversation. Such high quality, a couple of golden breaks. That was the 2-9 combination at a key stage that took us all the way. Van Boening had this chance. But look at this, in potting the 7, trying to get round for the 8. Straight into the side pocket. Really, there wasn't much that could go wrong after that for Amoroto. It's just all about not doing anything silly under the pressure. It's a huge moment for him, and